Hey folks, Mr. Olson here. Let's do some econ. In this video, we're going to finish 3.7 and we're going to look at going from the long run to the long run in perfect competition, and then also analyze the types of efficiency for perfect competition. First, let's go from the long run for the long run. The first example I'm going to show you is a constant cost industry. This is by far the most common type of industry that comes up on the test. What a constant cost industry means is that firms are going to face the same cost curves before and after other firms enter and leave the market. So when we do these long run adjustments, which is defined by other firms entering and leaving the market, the cost curves are going to stay constant for the particular firm we're analyzing. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Take a look at this scenario. You should by now be able to spot this and immediately see which of the three locations is this firm in? Is it earning a profit? Is it earning a loss? Or is it in long run equilibrium? This particular firm is in long run equilibrium. How do we know? Well, it's because it's earning zero economic profit, also known as a normal profit. So it has neither incentive to leave the industry, nor do other firms have incentive to enter the industry and compete with us. The price equals the minimum ATC, which equals the marginal cost curve, and therefore the total revenue equals the total cost. We're making a positive accounting profit, right? So we're paying our bills and then we're covering our opportunity costs, or we're not making anything better than that. Okay, so this would be our long run equilibrium. However, we could still have a disruption in the market. So let's move from the long run to the short run. If the demand increases, what happens in the short run, and how does it return in the long run? So let's say for this particular industry, let's say this is a corn industry, and due to the demand for ethanol fuels, there is an increase in the demand for the whole market for this particular product. What's going to occur? Well, demand's going to increase to the right. The price and quantity in the market is going to increase. And because we're a price taking firm, we have to take that new price. We can't charge our old price. So as a price taking firm, our new Mr. Darp curve is at $20. And as you can see, the quantity for this individual firm increases. Why? Because our R equals MC point increased. Okay. Now let's analyze what's happening in terms of profit versus loss. Well, all we got to do is with our new price, we always start with our new MR equals MC point. That's always going to tell us our quantity. Once we find our new MR equals MC point, that location is going to give us our quantity, and it's also going to give us it's our price curve. So that's going to be the price that we're going to take. So we want to compare that to our cost curve. And in this instance, we're happy because we get to go down to our cost curve and over. And that's where we're going to find our profit that we're making as a firm. Notice how, again, that MR equals MC quantity gives us all vertical intercepts we're looking for. So we went down to the ATC, which is no longer at its minimum, and then over. A common mistake on this is students would draw their profit box line back down to the min ATC again. And you can't do that. You got to show that this is now at a higher cost production and we're no longer at our min AC. All right, great. So here we are in the short run. We're making a profit. We're really excited about it. And the next question is, now that we're in the new short run equilibrium, what's going to happen in the long run? Well, just like we talked about last class, in the long run, other firms are going to enter the market. Why? Because we're earning a profit and they want to get in on some of that profit as well. So we're going to see an increase in the supply in the industry. We're going to see an increase in the supply in the industry until Mr. Darp goes right back down to where he was before. So as other firms enter the industry, we see an increase in the supply. It's effectively a double shift. It's a double shift until our price gets back down to right where it was before. So what happens to the firm? The price drops back to the original price of $15, and the quantity that we choose to produce as our profit maximizing quantity decreases as the price comes down because competitors enter the market. So ultimately, this is what it looks like when we return to long run equilibrium. Because this is a constant cost industry, the price is right back where it started. Our cost curve as a firm did not move. And the only thing, and the price in the market is obviously right where it started as well. The only thing that changed is the quantity in the market. The quantity for this firm is the same. However, the quantity in the market has increased. And this is awesome, right? Because society wanted more of this corn that this market is representing, in the long run, we got more corn at the same price, right? So this is kind of like the optimum scenario of markets working really, really well. And that short run, new demand by society moved resources over to that industry and made it so we could get more at the same price, right? So this is kind of the ideal scenario of perfectly competitive markets doing well. And as you can see here, we're back in the long run equilibrium. How do we know? Because we're making zero economic profit. All right, let's do it the other way. I'd encourage you to pause the video and try it on your own and see if you can do the opposite scenario, and then hit play and watch me go through it. So here we are in the long run equilibrium at $15. What happens if demand falls? So maybe this is some new studies come out saying that soybeans are bad for us, and this is the soybean market. So there's there's a decrease in demand for society. So what's going to happen in the short run, and then what's going to happen as we get back to the long run again. So again, these questions are from long run to long run. First thing that happens is a decrease in the demand because consumers want less. What does that do in the industry? It decreases the price and decreases the quantity. Our Mr. DARP is now lowered to Mr. DARP 1 here. And so our new MR equals MC quantity is here at 7. And then again, we want to figure out where our profit or our loss box is. Here, you go to your MR equals MC quantity, and at that quantity, you go up to look for the intercept of the ATC, and that's going to be our loss box there. So here we are again in a new short run equilibrium where this particular firm is making a loss. What's going to happen as we return to the long run again eventually? Well, other firms are going to leave the industry. Why are they going to leave the industry? Because we're making a loss, right? And if we're making a loss, other firms are making a loss. And the incentives are that firms should leave. So if those particular firms leave, we're going to see a decrease in the supply to the left until our price goes right back up to what it was before. So here we are again with a new equilibrium. Mr. DARP has returned to his original location for the firm. The firm is producing 8 again. The price and quantity is the same for the firm. The price is the same in the market. However, the only thing that's changed is the quantity in the market. Again, pretty cool. Society said, we don't want these things anymore. We go through the process. Society reallocates its resources. And in the end, we have the same price, right? And this particular firm has the same cost and revenue. However, the only thing that's changed is the quantity in the industry. Now I want you to notice in the note guide and the full slide deck documents, there's a lot more practice in this that you should do in your own. So there's some good MC questions to test, to make sure you're getting these concepts. And then there's some FRQs as well. This is a good one. This is a classic. This is Farmer Roy, and it ties together a lot of the ideas we've done so far. So I definitely recommend pausing the video or doing this on your own at a later date, giving this Farmer Roy FRQ a try, and then checking your answers with the solutions here in the slideshow. All right, the other type of industry would be an increasing cost industry. So we're going to go from the long run to the long run again. However, we're going to look at an increasing cost industry. This has only come up once in terms of an FRQ. They're starting to add more MCs. So occasionally you'll get an MC that deals with increasing cost industry. The odds of you getting an FRQ that deals with this are really, really low. Let's compare it though, so you're ready to tackle any MC that comes your way. So what is an increasing cost industry? Well, when new firms enter the market, it's going to increase the cost for the firms that are already in it. So in the last example, the cost curves never moved at all, okay? But this time what you're going to see is as firms enter the market, they're going to bid up the prices of resources. They're going to bid up the prices of raw material. And that's going to make us as an existing firm, have higher costs. So take a look at the scenario. You should be really quickly able to spot, boom, or in long run equilibrium. Okay. Question is, what happens if demand increases in the short run and then it returns to the long run? And again, the difference on this one is it's an increasing cost industry. So what happens in the short run? We have an increase in the demand. What does that do? It drives up price and quantity in the industry. It brings up our Mr. DARP curve for the firm in the short run. The profit maximizing quantity for the firm in the short run is going to increase, and we're going to have this profit box shaded in green here. So we're earning profit in the short run. Excellent for us. What's going to happen in the long run? To return to long run, because we are earning a profit, other firms are going to enter the industry. When other firms enter the industry, they're going to bid up the price of raw materials for us. So our lumber is going to get more expensive. Our capital that we're borrowing for banks is going to get more expensive. Our workers are going to get more expensive because now we have more firms competing for these resources that we're hiring. So watch this. As the supply increases due to other firms entering the industry, the costs are going to increase. Look, our variable costs increased, thereby bringing up our marginal cost curve and up our average total cost curve. Because of that, our new long run price is going to be somewhere in between the original price and that second equilibrium, right? So call it $20. So the original long run price was 15. Then we had an increase in the demand to bring it up in the new short run to 25. And then as other new firms enter the market, we're going to settle in between at say $20 because our cost curves are going to rise, and our new profit maximizing quantity is going to be right there where MC1 hits ATC 1 and Mr. DARP 3, which is actually not labeled here. Okay, so that's an increasing cost industry. So the biggest takeaway from this is make sure when you get questions that you always read the directions, the wording really carefully, and it's always going to define it for you. Typically, it's going to tell you that it's a constant cost industry, in which case the price goes right back to where it started. Okay, but in the event that it says it's an increasing cost industry, then you have to have the scenario that we just looked at occur. Okay, so the correct answer on this one would be E, because it's a constant cost industry. In the long run, will return to the original level. You guys are doing a great job. I'm so proud of you, this unit. Let's play a joke on folks who aren't watching this carefully. When you come back to class today, I'd like you to have a hat on your head, or if you don't have a hat, no worries, put something on your head. So it can be something silly or random or even a piece of clothing, but subtly, kind of when you come back to class after the screencast today, have a hat or something on your head. I'll give you guys a participation point for doing that, and then we can all look around on our gallery views and see who did not hear this part of the screencast and therefore is not wearing a hat or something on their head. So that'll be our fun little return, but we're not done yet. A couple more concepts I got to show you. We're now into the 3.7C note guide, and I want to talk to you about efficiency. All right, so when we speak about efficiency in general, we mean how is society using their resources, and are they using them in an optimal way? Given scarcity, right? Given unlimited wants but limited resources, we're interested in using those resources as efficiently as possible. The cool thing about perfect competition is it forces producers to use their limited resources to the fullest. Okay, if you're an inefficient firm, you're going to have higher cost curves and you're going to be the first to leave the industry, right? So when we look at those long run adjustments about who's leaving, it's going to be the firms who have higher cost curves, right, and aren't able to cover their costs as easily as the firms that are able to hang on into it. Okay, so the industries that last long in a perfectly competitive industry are going to be super, super efficient. Okay. And so this is great because in terms of the way we're combining resources, we're doing it in an efficient way. We can even be more specific. So back in Unit 1, we defined two types of efficiencies: productive efficiency and allocative efficiency. And we talked about those in terms of the PPC model. Okay, we can still use those terms again in this unit. We're going to define them a little bit differently and point to them on the graphs we've been developing here in Unit 3. Okay. Productive efficiency means you're producing at the lowest possible cost, which means you're producing at a quantity where in a scenario when your price equals your minimum ATC. So if you're at your minimum ATC, your average total cost per unit is as low as you could go, right? And that's productively efficient because that means that particular firm is producing each of those units at the lowest cost possible. The second spot we're going to look for in just a minute is the allocatively efficient point. Allocative efficiency means we're producing the amount desired by society. We're allocating the products according to society's wants. And graphically, that is where price equals the marginal cost. Now, some students have a hard time with this concept. Let me elaborate on it a little bit. We're going to say that if society is producing products where the marginal benefit of something is equal to the marginal cost of producing that thing, that's going to be allocatively efficient. Okay. What is the marginal benefit? It's the additional benefit that a consumer gets from buying one more unit of that product. In free market economies, we can put a number on the marginal benefit because we voluntarily exchange and buy goods and services with our money, right? No one, if markets are working well, which they are in this unit, we're gonna look at all the problems with them later. But right now, we're assuming they're working well. And in this perfectly competitive market, we know what the marginal benefit is. The marginal benefit is the price that people are willing and able to pay. We vote with our dollars. How much do you value those new sunglasses that you bought on Amazon last weekend? Well, how much were you willing and able to pay for them, right? No one forced you to do it. So we could say that the marginal benefit to society is the price that society's paying. So graphically, if we find the point where the price equals the marginal cost, then we are being allocatively efficient. So take a look at this scenario. You should, again, be really good at spotting this by now. Is this firm, in the short run or the long run, is this firm earning a profit or a loss, or are they breaking even? Okay. Here we are in the short run. This is a short run firm earning a profit. Okay. And I want you to notice that this firm's going to choose to produce where MR equals MC. They're going to come down to their ATC and over. And that's where we're going to find our profit box. But take a look at the scenario. In the short run, this firm is not productively efficient because they are operating at a quantity that's not at their minimum ATC. This would be a quantity where they are productively efficient. However, in the short run, we are not productively efficient because we are not at our minimum ATC. Okay. However, so that we're not productively efficient in the short run. However, and the same is true in a short run loss, right? The way you find if it's productively efficient is you ask yourself, where's the minimum ATC? And is that the quantity we're producing? No. In this instance, we're producing at a quantity Q2, which means we're at this point of our ATC. Remember, the ATC hits its minimum when MC crosses it. Okay, so the only spot on this whole graph where ATC is at its minimum is boom, right there where the MC crosses it. So in neither a short run loss nor a short run profit are we productively efficient. Okay, however, take a look at this scenario. In the long run, we are productively efficient because we're making zero economic profit. Our price is right here, and our marginal revenue equals marginal cost, profit maximizing quantity is at the minimum ATC, right? And that's why this is such an important place for perfectly competitive firms to end up in. We are productively efficient in the long run. Why? Because price equals our ATC, and our profit maximizing quantity is at the minimum ATC. Okay, so in short, to recap, in terms of productive efficiency, perfectly competitive firms are not productively efficient in the short run. However, they are productively efficient in the long run. What about allocatively efficient? Okay, in the short run, we are allocatively efficient. Why? Because price equals marginal cost. So we're always going to choose to produce where MR equals MC. And because of our friend Mr. DARP, marginal revenue equals the price. So whether we're making a short run profit or a short run loss, okay, we are going to be allocatively efficient in the short run. Okay, and we're obviously going to be allocatively efficient in the long run as well, because price is always going to equal the marginal cost. Okay, so this is what we mean by the kind of beauty and efficiency of perfect competition firms in the long run. Is they're productively efficient, but they're also allocatively efficient. Okay, so again, to recap that shortly, perfectly competitive firms are always allocatively efficient, both in the short run and in the long run, because they always choose to operate where price, which is the marginal benefit, equals the marginal cost. And here are that kind of summary. In short, you may want to have this handy in your notes as you go into your exam. Take care. See you back in class. And